AHIP 2026 is out, and it has been for a couple of weeks now. And in this video, I'm going to give you step-by-step all the information that you need to get through AHIP and pass it with no issues the first time. For those of you that are not familiar with what AHIP is a third-party education company that partners with all of the Medicare Advantage carriers to do training and yearly annual certification. It's true that when you get into the Medicare space, if you want to be licensed, contracted, certified with the various Medicare Advantage insurance companies, also Part D prescription drug plan insurance companies, that you have to go through yearly annual certifications. And while you do have to go through annual certifications individually with each carrier that you choose to represent, you also have to go through a master course that the majority of carriers require that you do on a year-to-year basis called AHIP. AHIP costs $175. However, if you go through one of the carriers and go through them to be able to take the test through their platform, they will discount it by $50. Some FMOs, too, might discount it for $50 as well if you go through them, but they kind of use that as a lead magnet, right? They use it as a reason to get your information, your contact information in-house, so that way they can remarket to you later and call you and things like that. You're much better off doing it with a carrier, in my opinion, but it does give you a little bit of a discount if you do it through a carrier, and most carriers will do AEP incentives as well. If you write a certain amount of apps during AEP, they might waive your costs altogether for the next year. They might refund your money entirely after AEP. So you're always better off, in my opinion, doing AHIP through a carrier. Now, AHIP in general, right, is made up of 5 training modules. And these 5 training modules you have to go through and complete in their entirety, typically, with practice questions at the end. And the training modules are made up of different sections, right? You might have one being Medicare basics. You might have one being compliance rules, marketing rules, things like that. One being like product types, Medicare Advantage and Part D rules and regulations in particular. And at the end, you have practice tests that you can go through and just kind of test your knowledge and see how well you really know the material. Now, there's 5 modules in AHIP. You have essentially the first 3 that you can, if you so choose to do so, skip all the way to the end and do the practice questions and skip the entire modules and all the slides. The reason for this is because those 3 modules have not changed very much over the years. They're Medicare basic information. So a lot of the seasoned agents might not need to be forced to go through those slide by slide by slide. That being said, if you're a newer agent, my advice to you is you should want to learn as much as possible by going through the AHIP certification process. So I would go through those slides. I would read up and read through those slides and try to pass the practice tests and everything like that. Now, the final 2 modules, module 4 and 5, you cannot skip all the way to the end this year. You have to go through them in their entirety, slide by slide. And the reason for that is because there's some new information included into them, right? New information such as with the DNIP changes. For those of you that aren't aware of that, DNIP plans come 2026, and this isn't new information. This is something that CMS put out publicly last year in 2024. Most people don't pay attention to these kind of things, but DNIP plans that have grocery card benefits, in order to use that grocery card benefit come 2026, this is going to be a blanket thing across all DNIP plans. They'll have to go through a chronic medical questionnaire in order to utilize those benefits. So they'll be able to get on the plan without a chronic questionnaire. They just need to have Medicare and Medicaid, but they will have to go through a medical questionnaire to be able to access that particular benefit, the DNIP grocery card benefit. So that's an example of something that's different, that has changed for next year. And so there's a couple changes in those other modules that they make you go through. Now, the final exam is 50 questions. It's a timed exam, 2 hours, and you have to get a 90% or above, and you have 3 attempts to do so, okay? Now, you should have no problem doing this. I always say that AHIP is an open book test. When I say that, I mean all of the questions and the answers are included in those practice exams at the end of the modules. They're the same questions. So if you get those down, you basically have the final exam test in your hands, right? If you have those down, if you know that information. A lot of agents are, potentially using AI to help them with the test. In my opinion, my advice, especially if you're new, I would not do that. I would try to learn the material as much as possible because it will help you once you go off and become an agent, okay? Once you pass that exam, you then have a fraud, waste, and abuse test that you have to pass afterward. But that one is not nearly as difficult because they're shorter, they're more generic, and also you have unlimited attempts to pass the fraud, waste, and abuse test. Once you do that, you will have obtained your AHIP certificate, and you'll be able to transmit it to the various insurance companies that you sell for, and you'll be able to move forward with the various carrier individual certifications on each carrier that you represent and you're licensed and appointed with. So that's it, right? AHIP is not the big bad boogie monster that a lot of people want you to believe that it is. It's not very difficult. It might take you some time. If you're seasoned, though, you should be able to fly right through it. Not a lot's changed this year. So we hope that this helped you get kind of an idea of what you're looking at for AHIP 2026. And here's to getting 100% on your exam. I've never in my career gotten 100%. I've been doing this 11 years on AHIP. This year I did. I got 100%. So that should tell you something. But all you need is a 90 at the end of the day. It doesn't matter whether you get a 90, 95, 100, doesn't really matter, right? So pass that test. And if you found this video helpful, valuable, insightful, do us a favor, smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. It's going to help so many more agents just like you find this information who need to find it, who desperately need help with this test. Make sure to comment your thoughts down below. What do you think of AHIP? Do you think it's unnecessary? Do you think it's stupid? Do you think it's helpful? What do you think about it? We'd love to hear your thoughts and engage with you about it. And make sure to subscribe for future videos to help you out in growing your insurance business and your Medicare business. We'll see you on the next one, everybody. Here's to your success and your abundance, and happy AHIPing, everybody.